I've never done that before. So I don't know what that means.
I think
Unless
it's
you're just announcing tonight.
I think that's what
bargaining.
that's what it
starting.
is. That's what it is. It's just an announcement. I'm gonna write this down.
Hey, Tim, I'll send that all to you. We are going to begin with our bargaining opening hearing. This process is a little different than in the past. Used to be we would have the bargaining opening meeting at a different time. The state legislature has dictated now that it has to be during regular board meeting. So at this point in time, when we bargain, it is the school corporation, the board of trustees, and the local teachers union, in our case, the Lanesville Education Association. They are the bargaining unit for all teachers and counselors that fit in it. What we are allowed to bargain are salaries and benefits related to salaries. This is notification that we, by law, are now going to start the bargaining process over the next several weeks and months. It's something that we have to have done by November. Any questions from the public? Ms. Shiger, you guys have any? Oh, Ms. Garlock. With no questions, I will adjourn the bargaining opening hearing at 6:02 or 6:32, not 6:02. That would be problematic. the school bus replacement over the next 3 years. I've got a sheet here for you guys that would need yays or nays on it. Coming up here, we are significantly, we've done the last few years, on bus fleet, knowing that the price of buses have skyrocketed over the last few years. I bought a bus for $112,000 a few years ago. Same bus is now $185,000. Contract drivers can't keep up with that. So we are anticipating the conversation we've had with our bus drivers. Last contract we had all of our route drivers were contract drivers. Now we're sitting free drive for us, the corporation, and 4 contract drivers. We're anticipating probably picking up another 3, if not all 4 on the next time. We've got this year and the next year on the existing contract. So we've got to prepare for that. We've got a couple older buses that maybe have 1 or 2 more years left in them. And you'll see that down here on bus 10. That is our oldest in the fleet. We got rid of a bus a couple of years ago. It was a pusher, rear engine bus, flat nose. But what we're anticipating, we bought a couple buses the last couple of years in 26, and you'll note, and we'll talk about it in the budget hearing on our operational funds. You'll see a significant increase, but a big chunk of that is coming from buses that we have to buy in 26. And then one more in 27. Some people do bonds for buses. We do not here at Lanesville. We buy them outright. Some people rent buses. We buy them outright. And so you'll see that. Then once we get into 2028, then we'll get into the cycle where we'll start replacing some buses. Bus 10, and that's the one that we've run back and forth across her for years and years and years. And then for a long time, we had 10, 11 were our 2 main buses for most people on activities. And so it's got a lot of miles on it. Been beat up going back and forth from Prosser, so we're looking to replace that one in 28. And then in 29, we just recently purchased another mid bus. We've increased our fleet there from 3 to 4 because we were always short. And once we hit 29 and 30, we're looking to replace mid bus 1 and then mid bus 2 and keep that fleet at 4. Depending on what happens, population just changes from year to year. But this is our 3-year plan as of now. So, like I said, when we get to operations, you'll see a significant jump. Part of that is this.
7 routes is what we have.
That's what we currently have, yes.
Okay. So you're anticipating those contracted routes going to school corporation routes.
At least
that's why you're purchasing these buses.
Yeah.
And does that factor in an inflationary factor of those buses increasing?
Yes.
So 26 we're going to purchase 2, and as those contracts been firmed up with the bus company, I mean, we know by the 10,000.
Yeah, we know, we've had those conversations. We just bought one this year, and so we know what that is. We talk to them as we build our budget. And we're very fortunate here. We've got Nick Thieneman, who works with Midwest Transit, and it used to be same day, and so we know them really, really well. They are community people, so they give us this information on where we can safely put our bids. But if something were to happen, like on this last bus, there was a few $1,000s, $6,500 for tariffs that we had to pay. Something like that happens. The way that it works is you're not locked into 200,000 and 200,000. Let's say there's a war and whatever it might be, and a bus is 210,000. You're not locked into 200,000. Operationally, you can still pay for that $210,000 bus. It won't go that high.
I won't lock in now.
Well,
can you contract and say we'll buy this bus for $200,000, but we'll take delivery of it?
We can, and that's how we typically do it. And it'll probably be 18. The last 2 buses ago was 18 months before we were able to take possession because of all the supply shortages. But what'll happen is once we do this, then we'll make the orders, then they'll lock us in, and we run through the Wilson Education Center. They handle all the bus bids, and so it goes by year. And so as long as we get it in, then we can pay for it in 26. You can pay for the buses till you get delivery on them.
Right.
But the Wilson Education Center does all of the bidding on them. They lock them in each year, so we know it's not going to move.
Right.
And then we can really do the purchase order in 25, but pay with 26 budget
So
dollars.
we've got a purchase order out there right now.
We don't, because they're going to approve this plan today. If they approve this plan today, then we'll start working on that.
But off in 18 months, you might not get that bus. So,
But they lock us in.
yeah, I know.
They have in the past. Any further questions on bus replacement?
So, couple of North County, when we do this, you're actually buying the purchase slot.
Correct.
And they haven't, you're buying slots, you build it at this price.
Yeah. Now, every once in a while, they have, where they run over production or whatever, they might have one or two sitting there. But typically, we're buying a bus that hasn't even been welded on yet, on the frame.
Maybe the overbill will get a better price.
Well, what happens then is then they know that if you need immediate possession, they kind of stick it to you a little bit. That's what happened a couple years ago. Any further questions on bus replacement? All right. Hearing none. Moving on to capital projects. This is again a 3-year plan. A lot of things happen with capital projects. This is what we're anticipating. But as things break, as things happen, sometimes you have to divert funds from one year to the next. But this is a 3-year plan for capital projects. We know each year we have significant HVAC needs that we address. We've got these cafeteria tables and chairs, knowing full well that this space might, even starting this winter, be also used as our wrestling practice room. As we're bringing middle school wrestling in this year. High school and middle school will be here next year. It's out in your real space. A lot of places use the cafeteria for that. Clean out one of those and store them there. But these chairs, they break constantly. You can ask these people here. It's wear and tear. What we're looking to replace them with are the ones that fold up. They have the seats already on them. If you've been to Clarksville High School, somebody mentioned it to me recently. They've got some, and we've seen some mock-ups where a few of the tables have logos on them, and that just really make the cafeteria look nicer for our kids. But we are anticipating replacing in the next few years all of these with those. And really, the tables are in pretty good shape. The chairs, we go through a couple orders of 30 every year. The legs break, you can't weld them. And so that's a significant cost for us that we can eliminate. And we'll figure out what to do with the tables, because they are still pretty good shape. They've been here a long time, but they are still very, very functional. A couple big ticket items that we've got. We said the buses, you'll see that. Playground fencing, sidewalk, and secured entrance around the elementary. We're hoping to get that done last year. We weren't able to. It's still in the budget. Capital projects. That way our kids are safer on the playground. And it's not really, I'm afraid, of anybody stealing a kid. What makes me worried, as I'm driving down or wherever, balls will go out in the parking lot, or they'll go out in the drive going down. You always get nervous about that kid running down. That's really what is leading that. But we're trying to set it up where then it's a secured entrance into the playground from the building. The kids don't ever have to walk through the parking lot. But then also gates on the sides where then on nights and weekends it can be unlocked so that the community can still use the playground and the ball court like they do currently. And the biggest and most significant impact that we're going to see over the next few years, it's time for our parking lots to be resurfaced, including the lane that goes back by the superintendent's office where the buses are in the back,
And Meadowlark is owned by the school corporation as well, so that needs to be redone. And so we're factoring in 500,000 at least for year one on that. Once we get through this, then we'll start getting some quotes and some bids and see what we can do. If it has to be a multi-year phase to make it financially viable, then that's what we'll do. But we'll start getting those quotes as soon as the capital projects are signed off. But we know that's going to be significant. And so really, when we go through the budget here in just a second, you'll see a huge jump in operations. But that comes from the purchase of those new buses and then some large capital projects that we have to do. And also something we kind of punted off of 25 was we know that we need LED sign out front. We've looked at them. We've had people in talk through with us. We had some things come up that we shifted some dollars. But still we'll put that on the table for that. And the place will be right over here on the corner where you can see it from the parking lot. You can also see it from the soccer field. You can see it coming up Crestview both ways. But it's another way for us to share information from school closings or events or those kinds of things. And almost every school that I can think of has those types of signs where you can program different things into it. And we're not the only one I can think of that does it, but it's time for us to do that. So we've got that budgeted at $75,000. I don't think it will cost that, but we went on the safe side on that. Any questions on capital projects?
Yeah. 250,000 for which means what are you expecting?
We are, but you never know.
So that's just building up this.
Yep. Just give us some cushion in case the compressor goes down, or as we're sitting there, if we have enough money to go ahead and put another compressor in, if we have running time, whatever it might be.
So you don't foresee.
No, but I always build that in. Always build it in just in case.
I'm just curious on how firm those numbers are and what's priority. When you talk about a capital project, 3 years, what ones are first, second, third, fourth, fifth? You know,
The parking lot has to be redone.
I'm glad that you said that because you look at it pretty hard and it hasn't been sealed. It's cracking open this winter.
Yeah, three years ago, I think the seal was the last time.
It needs to be.
And so it needs to be redone. That's priority one. The gym sound system, we're hoping to have that done before basketball season starts.
It'd be nice if they had gears by the way, so it'd be a little bit easier to see, kind of what's coming.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of them are multi-year projects. Some of them get
Well, I
bumped.
understand HAC, you're putting $250,000 in every year for maintenance or what might happen to HAC.
Just like the cafeteria tables too. We've talked about a 3-year plan with those. Depending on where the money sits, if you're doing pretty good, then we can go ahead and do 2/3 of them, or maybe even all of them. But if not, we've already planned a third if we have to. That's the reason that is the way it is, and that's how that works. Moves.
I got one more. In the past, one of the capital projects, the bleachers were on there for a couple of years. Down the floor. Is it gonna last a few more years?
We think we can get another year out of the floor, but we're going to get an estimate, so we're not going to do it now. Not planning on it. But again, you put these capital projects in there. These are things that you hope to do. As things happen, things shift. Some of them get done, some of them don't. Other projects pop up that you have to take care of. Thank you. Now we're going to open up the 2026 budget hearing. You'll see a significant jump in the budget for this year. A lot of that comes in operations because of some things that we've already been on that we need to do. Our education fund is up pretty significant. We'll get that when we get to it. And all the things that come from that. Debt service is up quite a bit, and that is because of the solar panels and the roofing that is being done, and that is handled through debt service. Operations took a significant jump. And in our referendum fund, we're going to keep it the same at 500,000 is where we lock it in at. These tax rates that you see, they're a little misleading because you advertise at that tax rate, but that's not what it's going to be. So like you see operations fund tax rate at 86 cents, it'll be nowhere near that. It'll be somewhere probably around 25 to 30 cents. The referendum fund is capped at 17 cents, but it'll be somewhere 15 to 16. And the debt service comes in where it comes in at. So these are our current fund balances as we sit today, the latest print off. Our education fund is sitting at $4,307,000, referendum fund $164,000, debt service fund $258,000, and our operation fund is sitting at $1,896,000. And then we've got investments $4,388,630. And that's money that is sitting in Trust Indiana. It generates good interest there. We utilize that, some of it for staff members, for what's up, 401A for retirement. Some of it goes to stipends. We pull interest off. Mr. Morris moved $4 million several years ago into that. The last several years, we've pulled a third of the interest generated each year off, and that goes to 401A, and then what's left over out of that third goes to teachers and the form of the stipend. Our education fund, this is what we get. The money comes from student enrollment. Doesn't matter where the student resides, you get about $7,000 from the state of Indiana based off of your October 1 ADM. And so October 1 is known as the count day. However many students we have enrolled on October 1 sets your education fund for the year. So you anticipate, you look, you can run some simulations and try to predict what you're going to get. But then there are also some factors. Kids that get an honors diploma, and a little bit more money. There's some CTE dollars. The kids that go through ag programs bring in a little bit more dollars. So the base is right around $7,000 on the basic grant. There are payments each month that come in on that, and that's what you utilize. But what we use on this, salaries, teachers, secretaries, nurses, librarians, assistants, counselors, most administrators, those come from there. Benefits come from there as well. Not sure why custodians are on there, but they do not come from there. We do some types of utilities, others come out of operations. Instructional supplies come from there. Insurance comes from there. One thing now that we have to work with are textbooks, where those of you that have kids, grandkids, whatever, you remember paying textbook bills. You no longer pay textbook bills in the state of Indiana. Textbooks are free for parents. We get some money from the state to help offset that, but it's nowhere near what it is that we need. We're looking at like $140,000 or what it's going to cost for textbooks. We get some of that back from the state, but probably about half of that will get eaten out of that education.
So that's not included in the grant money, the basic 69.
No, it is. Yep.
It is.
Yep. It's all in the same pot. You notice that this year the proposed budget, if you remember, $8,169,290. 2025 was $7,629,025. Last year we took a pretty big jump in our education fund, and we knocked our operations fund down a little bit to try to stay about the same, trying to stay under 11 million. This year we clearly weren't going to be able to, but we know we've got a lot of people that deserve raises, and we're going to try to do that for them, but also a lot of operational things that we have to do. So both went up a little bit, but it's to try to take care of our people. One thing, again, these are the things, Prosser tuition, each kid that goes to Prosser, about half of their ADM money we send to New Albany, Florida. Now with new career pathways and new graduation requirements, it's extremely valuable for the kids and for us, but also we have to realize that half of their ADM dollars go there, and there's going to be an increase this year from Prosser. It's been years since there's been one, but there's going to be. We do credit recovery and professional development, some out of that, some out of title dollars. Network support, computer hardware, textbooks, athletic coaches get paid out of there. Media services get paid out of there. We're part of the Harrison County Exceptional Learners Cooperative. And so money that comes in into our education fund, and we have to help pay to the co-op for special education services. The things that we either contract through them or that we just do jointly. And so speech language services come through there, OT comes through there, ED comes through there. All those services come straight from the co-op, but we pay a portion of our ADM fund to them in education fund. Debt service fund, and really all this is paying off your bonds. It's exactly what it says. You've got debt, and usually for the sale of bonds, you get the direct cash from bonds that goes in. We were very, very fortunate because of the financial situation of the corporation. Our interest rate on the bonds that we got for the 25 series, which is going to address the roof and the solar panels up there, which will then eventually pay for the entire project. But we were take under 4% on the interest rate, which is extremely good. We were A++ on our rating from Standard & Poor's, which was wonderful and helped us out a lot. Debt service comes from property taxes, excise taxes, commercial vehicle, and then one thing that's on there, county debt reduction. I want you guys to pay attention to this, and I'll spend a lot of my night tomorrow working with the county council and the other two superintendents in the county. County debt service reduction is something that was put in years and years and years ago when the riverboat came in. When I first got to Lanesville, there was a pool of $3 million, and those of you that lived in the county, whether you live in Franklin Township or you live somewhere else, if you lived in the county council helped offset your debt service payments, whatever corporation you lived in. $1 million was pulled a couple years ago. The impact at the time for Franklin Township was about 5 cents. So everybody who lives in Franklin Township saw 5 cents. South Harrison was a little bit larger, North Harrison was about the same. The center is larger. Conversations right now, there's talk from some council members of maybe taking that other $2 million away. And so that would greatly impact corporation and taxpayers. So we would have to run the numbers the next week or two, but you're looking in, it was 10 cents still there then, 2 years ago. Now you're looking at probably Franklin Township, 12 to 15 cents. Your taxes will go up, property taxes. Where that hurts us as a school is if you're ever looking to do a referendum, those are tax dollars. We've been very, very fortunate that the county picked up, but it makes it more difficult to do that. So I'll just bring that to your attention. And again, just our bond series, that's what comes out of there. You can see a significant jump this year to last year, but that's because we issued a new bond. We had some that was close to expiring. So that brings it up to where it was about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the budget was almost $700,000 on debt service. And then there are the bonds. Operation funds, and you can see down here, this is the one that has the most significant height. And that is because of the things we've already talked about, the purchase of 2 buses, all the paving that we're anticipating having to do in the next year. And so that's where a big chunk of that comes from. Where this comes from, property tax, excise tax. You get 2 payments on those, June and December. What comes out of this a lot of your building improvements, equipment that we buy, architectural fees, maintenance costs, utilities, technology fees, and some of those are split between different funds depending on what they're used for, transportation costs, and then my salary and people that work back in the superintendent's office, they come out of operations as well. This is one that, this 2,308,000 from last year was down quite a bit from the year before, just because trying to keep the overall budget under 11 million last year, we had to take a larger jump in education, so we pushed it down there. One thing that we are allowed to do, and you'll hear here in a little bit, because you get more money in your education fund, even though your expenditures are significant out of operations, we are allowed to transfer up to 15% of our education dollars for that year into operations. For the last few years, we tried to keep it under 15. We're going to try to do the best we can. A lot of the reason that we're doing some solar and some other things. But what you need to be aware of, and this is just in the next 3 years, because of Senate Enrolled Act 1 that went through, where our state legislator wanted to do tax reform. The average homeowner in Indiana is going to see about a $300 difference in their home taxes, and that's about it. The impact for us, though, is almost $600,000 lost over the next 3 years. And this is the Indiana Coalition for Public Education. This is their estimate on it. And you can see we're right here, but over the next 3 years, where that's going to fall off on. What we're also going to lose out on, what's not on here, because it's another 3 years, and I'm hoping it doesn't happen or something happens, is a local income tax that's levied on you guys as well from the county. They've been very, very generous, and Lanesville Community Schools gets a portion of that. It's about $111,000 each year. Senate Enrolled Act 1 ends that come 2028. So if new legislation isn't imposed, that's another $111,000 that the corporation won't be getting. But what you have to remember here is, as things sit today, the estimates are for 3 years. But unless something changes, it's not like that's going to all of a sudden vanish. That's going to continue. If things like TIF districts come in, then that would be another significant loss. If they do more tax reform in 28 or in 27, that would be more significant loss for the corporation. We're very fortunate here at Lanesville. We're very frugal with our money. We worry about the bad days. The bad days are coming. I sit in a lot of meetings with a lot of panicked superintendents. Those that are close to retirement age, a lot of them are going because they don't want to deal with these ramifications. A lot of board members are really, really worried about that. It's a significant impact for us. And so you're looking just at Lanesville, a $600,000 loss anticipated over the next 3 years. And that's if nothing else changes. That's if counties, everybody else can levy other taxes, whether new local income taxes or whatever else, to try to make themselves whole from the losses. The one entity that cannot are schools. So your fire department can levy a local income tax. They can try to make themselves whole. We cannot. There's no avenue for us without help from somebody else to try to recoup any of these dollars. The fear that we have is that others will do that. Levy some other form of taxes where your property tax may drop a little bit, so they're going to get you somewhere else, which might infuriate some legislators, which may create more of a divide on property taxes that we won't be able to recoup. So we are preparing for that, knowing that as that another reason why you see a spike in operational costs this year, even though it's happening, we know things we have to take care of, but we need to do it now just in case it gets worse, just in case there's another piece of legislation that really hurts our property taxes. I know one thing they're looking at dinner, what they wanted to do is take property taxes all the way back to 2021, which would be significant. They're working on the caps as well, and trying to rework the tax caps, which then would generate less revenue for us in that area.
But anticipated growth, the new homes that generate more property.
Yes,
So
potentially.
yes, because
Unless you're like Floyd County or Clark County and they start doing residential TIFs, in which case, no. Then at that point in time, you don't get it. One thing that counties can do on those TIFs, and we've been very, very fortunate, everybody else deals with them all the time, Harrison County hasn't had to. There's a provision in there that says that they may provide up to 15% of generated tax revenue with the schools. We're working very hard to get that to be shall. As we sit today, we don't have one in Franklin Township, but in the last 6 months, there's been talk in the county of putting TIF districts in. Conversations I had at Greater Clark now much larger, obviously. They figured last year they lost about $6.5, $7 million. Clarksville figured they lost about $3.5 million. Silver Creek loses significant money as well. The residential TIFs are the ones down at Albany, Floyd are fighting hard, and Greater Clark, because like you said, when you build those new homes, you anticipate that if it's a residential TIF, you cut out, you don't get them. Unless they give you the 50%, that's still not what you're going to get. And so you hope and pray those things don't happen, but you always have to plan for the worst. These things we've already talked about. The local income tax loss of $111,000, that would be on the table of 28 additional tax cap losses, and then the evolution of districts within our corporation. Our referendum fund. This is something that it's on its second go round. It's got 2 more years on it. 2027 is when it sunsets. It's capped at 17 cents. Since I've been doing the budget, I've stopped at 500,000. If you've been to any building projects, any of those meetings with us, this is something that I'm anticipating in 27 to let sunset. New legislation, now you have to let it sunset a year anyway, but we had these conversations before that, simply because we want to help the taxpayers of Franklin Township the best that we can and still provide a new building for our kids. We need more space. The plan was to let that drop. There would be another 13.5 cents, 14 cents that would come back to the taxpayer to help offset that, to not make that impact as great. Now what we're looking at, if debt service and that tax goes, then if we let this go, essentially you're going to be a power wash. It will still be a way to help offset for Franklin Township. As we sit today, the operational referendum isn't something that we typically, that we necessarily have to have. When it was enacted, it was 100% because they were coming off years where they let off every structural system, brought some back, but it was very, very lean times, and that's where this came in at. These things aren't designed to be there forever. It's had 2 runs, 7 years, 7 years. The situation now that we don't have to have it as we sit today. 5 years from now, I can't guarantee that. But if it's a situation where it's not something that is a necessity for us to operate daily, you want to give that back to the taxpayers. You want to be good stewards of taxpayer money. You don't want to just bring in and bring in and bring in if you don't have to. We pay a lot of benefits out of there. One thing that kind of got us, when new legislation came in, we were paying a lot of benefits for teachers out of that. And so last year, now there's new legislation, we have to get 62%, now it'll be 65% of your educational dollars that come in each year. You have to go to teacher salaries. We were at 61.5 roughly. We didn't meet the 62. We didn't meet the 62 because we were pulling some benefits and other things out of that operational referendum. So we switched them. We just got word a couple weeks ago from the state that we would have been 63.8% if they had been in the education fund. Neither here nor there, but we learned that lesson. We've already been through capital projects. Some of you that weren't here, some significant things. We saw the operational fund balloon a little bit. We've got to redo the paving. We've got to redo the parking lot in the back and the front, the side. We've got to do Meadowlark because that's a school-owned property. We've got to do all those things in the next couple of years. we may have to do it in phases, just to try to keep the cost down, so we're not absorbing it all at one time. We always put in money for HVAC repair. Never know what's going to happen, but you need to have that buffer. Some things that are still sitting on, double-sided LED marquee sign, new gym, sound system. You've been to ball games, you know it needs to be redone. We're gonna get that done, hopefully before basketball season. And then these cafeteria tables and chairs. The tables are in really good shape. The chairs are awful. They break constantly. We spend thousands and thousands of dollars each year doing that. We're looking to get the ones that you just fold up. The chairs are already on them. And then that's another reason is it makes it easier for Sandy and her crew. But then probably have to use this space for wrestling or something else as well. So we need to make it easier and quicker on those things. Those of you that are new, with bus replacement, we're anticipating running most of our fleet, if not all of our fleet, 2 years as contract drivers, or not contract drivers, but corporation drivers. They can't afford buses anymore. In just 4 years, they've gone from $112,000 to $185,000 contract driving. You can't afford it. And so, transporter kids, we realize we're going to have to do that. We've got bus 10 is going to need replaced in the next couple of years, and then start replacing mid-buses. We purchased a brand new mid-bus to bring our fleet up to 4. We think that's going to do us good right now. If that needs adjusted, then you redo it next year. Still looking at growth. Still trying to figure out what that's going to look like. Still trying to position ourselves. And that's why you heard me talk a lot about tax rates. Still trying to position ourselves the best we can for a building project in 26. Expand educational programming. Again, got to have more room. We've added staff to help address some high ability and do different things. Added some special education staffing. What we can't do, and what I hear all the time is, well, what about, I got 31 kids in my kid's classroom. I don't have another classroom. I can't move. One thing you notice when you walk around our facility, we don't have a sprinkler system. Had a lot of conversations lately with, okay, if this doesn't happen, talking to architects, what can we add here? What can we do here? Every last one of them. Can't really add on right now because you don't have a sprinkler system. Everything would have to be gutted, and the sprinkler system would have to be put in or built. I've heard 2 different numbers, 25 feet and 30 feet away from the existing structure, which would give us that parking lot out by Wright's Field, and that's about it. But it's an option. So we're going through all of those options with everybody. Never would have thought not having a sprinkler system would cause that much grief, but it does. Technology integration, we just did brand new technology devices for everybody, but that's essential for us. Upgrading for our teachers, that was essential because we noticed our teachers were giving us feedback when they had days, snow days. They couldn't communicate well. We've got to get that fixed, and I think we did, but that's still going to be something we have to keep in our minds. And all costs, on all fronts, everything just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And you just have to adjust for it. And we're going to do the best we can on that. Anything that you saw here, nothing's top secret. It all gets uploaded, but if you want a copy of this presentation, email me, I can email it straight to you. All the slides, everything. No issues. If you have any questions, just get a hold of me. But if you want the presentation, just let me know, and I'll email it to you. Any questions? There's no. There's right now you get the growth portion. Yeah, it is, and that's why whenever you heard me talk about the tax rate, we always advertise higher, but it is.
But as far as thinking new development's going to be running, it's not. It's going to spread out well, so the rate is lower.
Yes, your tax rate is lower. Yeah.
Yeah. You're not getting any of the growth portion, which is the main one.
Yeah, but the homeowner will lose it, or it will reduce. Yes.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to steal the show, and everybody thinks I'm going to do that since it's not. I apologize for not being able to keep my mouth shut. But I want to kind of confirm what he says and then clarify a little bit. There is going to be a TIF district established in the county. It is generally, it is designated to be right at 135 Quarry Road intersection. Right now, there's a big field there, sinkholes, and there's a lot of interest in commercial development. So that is the only area being considered. And I thought this area over here might be, it's not. The county, the redevelopment commission is going to just target that. And the TIF district is set up to where we increase. Once the district is developed, they're going to estimate what tax revenue will be off of that area. That area will then fund the payment of loans that are issued to the developer to make that development happen. And so without the TIF district, that development will never happen because the developers will want to pay anywhere from $10 to $15 million for property. Because the sinkholes were there, so they have to put another $25 million in just to get it correct. So they can't do that. So TIF district allows the developer to borrow.
And to get renewed over and over and over.
I'm not, I don't know. Yeah, you're correct. The discussion in here tonight right now with the board that's on there, this is, we don't like tips real much. We realize the development won't happen without it. So it will, it's in a sense. That is correct, somewhat quicker. The redevelopment could be an issue, but since it's designated to a certain area.
And they can share 15%.
Yeah. But I don't want everybody thinking Lakes is going to tip. As of right now, it's just one area. I'll give my county council cut off.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Yeah, I'll call to order the Lakeville Community School Board of Trustees, September 16th. I'll call to order the Lakeville Community School Board of Trustees, September 16th, 2025 meeting. The first is the call to order, the second is the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice.
Board members, you have received the agenda in advance of tonight's meetings. You have had time to review, research, and consider the matters to be voted on tonight. Board members, do you have any questions or concerns to be addressed before we proceed?
No.
Okay. Any other concerns or questions? Okay, the next item I'm just kind of putting in, I'm going to introduce Donnie Hussong as our new board member. Give him a few seconds to say something.
I just want to say thanks for the trust you had in me. I hope the 22 years I've served on the prior helps you guys. I haven't been the agenda. I need the group I'm representing. I'm not here representing board members. I'm here to make this board the strongest team that we can be. And the best that we can, like everybody else is. The best that we can. Anybody's thinking I was going to come in here and paint the hallways a darker color purple. That's not going to happen. Thank you all. Thank everybody. A lot of people expressed congratulations to me, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, the next item, August and early September was a long month. Approval for the minutes from the August 3rd, August 19th, August 27th, and September 2nd, 2025 board meetings. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
Make a motion to approve. I'm sorry.
Did you second, Sharon?
I will.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on the desk.
Okay, Sharon, you're second.
I'm seconding.
Okay. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The next item is approval of the claims from the month of September. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims for the month of September.
Seconded.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next item's principal's report.
Happy Post-Heritage Week. It was a very busy week. Our third and fourth graders had a great time going on the field trip again, and we just can't thank, because of our schedule changing, being able to move all those field trips to Wednesday was just a great blessing. And we had great weather, and so really, all in all, it was a wonderful day. We also had over 200 parent-teacher conferences on Thursday. Our teachers are busy. We want to give a shout out to our teachers and our parents for coming together to talk about academics and behavior. We had student profile sheets where each conference kind of led through some of the strengths of their kids, the academic strengths, some behavior, and then what I need, like what interventions and things that our teachers are working on. So just a shout out for all of our families coming together. We also want to thank PTSO for our dinner. That was a wonderful blessing as well. In addition, we had our sixth grade girls won the Crawford County Volleyball Invitational on Saturday, September 6th. And then on Monday the 8th, they partnered with the Harrison County Community Services to assist serving a warm meal to our less fortunate. So way to go, girls. What an awesome job on and off the court. So we're super excited for them. This week is I Learn Checkpoints on Thursday and Friday. Will be the first time that Lanesville Elementary has taken part in the checkpoints. So we've been working hard, and we're looking forward to those results and then just what those next steps will mean for our teachers and our students for quarter two. It's just 2 weeks until fall break. 8 more ups if anybody's counting. But we really plan to wrap up quarter one with a lot of celebrations. We have our field trip to Possibility Park coming up for kindergarten to fourth grade. We also have a quarter one celebration for our fifth and sixth grade here who have earned success cards, and they're also going to have an opportunity to celebrate here on campus. And just celebrations continue. So at this time, I'm going to turn over the mic to Mrs. Wheeler, and she's got some fourth grade celebrations to share as well. Go ahead and give her a round of applause. She's really shy.
Before Mrs. Wheeler comes up, I do want to say that no, you're fine. You can have a seat. The kids came down on at the Heritage Grounds on Wednesday. It was really good. The kids were wonderful, by the way. They did a great job. And Jerry Reinhardt has a lot to do with that. Guy Highkemper has a lot to do with that. Shelby Adams has a lot to do with that. The kids were wonderful. Did their job well every year. They did it again this year. And I just want to thank you for sending the kids down. They were very attentive. They listened. They acted like they were interested. It was good, So I appreciate that. It was good.
Thanks. I got to go. It was great.
I
learned a lot.
You were there, yeah.
So this is just like a positive shout out. I'm Miss Wheeler. I'm a fourth grade teacher at Lanesville. And every morning our kids say the Eagle Pledge, and the G in Eagle stands for good citizenship. So I just wanted to shout out for our fourth graders. They've been doing a phenomenal job at representing that citizenship component of our pledge. We recently got to go to a field trip to the Falls of the Ohio and then to the Howard Steamboat Museum. And as a kid, I remember thinking museums were really boring, and our kids loved it. We got 2 amazing compliments. They said that we were some of the best groups they've ever had. They look forward to Lanesville coming every year. So I thought that was a big, pat on the back for our parents and our community. And then this past weekend, the fourth grade participated in the Heritage Parade. The kids worked together with us, and we built a really cute float, had a big birthday cake on it. Each kid created a candle that we put on there representing what they loved about Heritage Weekend. And so there, about half of our, over half of our students actually showed up to represent the Lanesville schools. They did a great job. They waved. They, smiled. They loved it. They ate it up. And so along with the parade, we also had a writing contest and a drawing contest that the Heritage Committee put on and asked for submissions for. And so we had first, second, and third place from all categories were from Lanesville. I am not sure if St. John's competed against us or not, but they were also invited. So I just the whole community was involved. So I thought that was great for our kids. And so I brought along my first place winner, Miss Emerson Tarman. She's going to share with you her piece that won first place. And it was all about what they love about Heritage and why Heritage is important to them. And they're fourth graders. So it was impressive. I was very impressed with what they came up with. Can you see it? Do you want me to hold it down here? That'll be easier. You can say the title.
Why I love Lanesville Heritage Weekend. Does your town do any special yearly traditions? Well, Lanesville does. It's called Heritage Weekend. This year we are celebrating our 50th anniversary. In my opinion, the best part of Heritage is gathering as a community. Lanesville Heritage has something for everyone. There are booths, rides, food, the parade, and a ton more. September is the month Heritage is in. Because of this, Heritage is crowded with people gathered to see the amazing sights and smell delicious food. The Lanesville community puts this spectacular event together yearly. It takes many volunteers weeks to prepare. So with the money earned, the Lanesville Heritage Committee helps the community. They do a lot of activities and events for the residents. Lanesville Heritage is amazing and thrilling. A ton of families and friends gather to see the entertaining parade and spend time together. A lot of people come and go, but they all remember the fun time they had and the memories they made. In conclusion, Lanesville Heritage Weekend is a great way to spend time with friends and family. Think about going to Lanesville Heritage this year. Try to make memories with your family and friends. Gathering is my favorite part of Lanesville Heritage Weekend.
So the kids actually won T-shirts, which I think she's sporting one of them, right? Is that the one you won? Yeah. And then they won wristbands for the much desired ride wristbands. They won some of those, so it was pretty cool. It was a really great thing.
I read these. We had several of us read the essays.
Yeah.
Was she the one that said the smelly food and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. The food was a big deal. Rides and food were in the top two.
And the smelly food.
Yes. Yes.
That's terrible.
Thank you.
Could almost leave the mic where it was, but that's okay. I'll pretend like I need to lift it up a little bit. I don't have a whole lot to talk about. We are chipping away towards the end of this 9 weeks. So great time for parents. Just a reminder, check harmonies. Good time to get in touch with teachers. I'm telling teachers on our PLC that they also need to be reaching out with any kind of grade issues or any of that. So also want to welcome Donnie, who sung. I'm glad you're here. I know you are qualified to sit in this capacity, and I know that you're going to help keep this place great, and so I appreciate you being on the board. Obviously, Heritage wrapped up, the festival that we've all heard about this weekend. The kids come in just like You can tell the ones that were there all weekend because they are just absolutely gassed out. But they had a good time. And not only are they just there to have fun and celebrate and hang out with friends, but a lot of those kids are working, they're volunteering their hours, they're giving up tons of their time to pass out drinks and raise money and fundraise and help pick up trash. And so, just a shout out to those kids for all the help and support they give the community. I want to thank people that were a part of the Heritage community memberships, the people that used our facilities. They come in, they use the facilities, they clean it up immaculately. It's like they weren't here. So I definitely appreciate that to help us out, keeping it wrapped up for, things like sports and everything's ready to go. We have had in the past couple weeks, and this next week is College Go Week. We're going to have some colleges come in. We've had like Butler come in, Ball State, IUS to come talk to our students about some great post-secondary options for them if they are thinking about the college pathway. Powder Puff is coming up the last week, the last Friday, the 26th, before fall break starts. We have got sports happening. I mean, our volleyball team's doing really well. Right now, we're currently 11-7, so that's a great record. Sounds like we're winning this one. I don't know. And then soccer has also improved a tremendous amount from last year, and so I'm excited about that. We also have a teacher spotlight this evening, and I'm going to bring up Kyle Brown to help show what some of his kids are doing in his classroom and the great stuff that Lanesville kids are doing. Also, before you come up, I want to mention that same comment about how well behaved the students were at Heritage, every time I've ever been out with students, we get the exact same compliment. People approach us to tell us that they're so impressed with how well they behave. So it's awesome to be a part of that.
I was going to compliment you on the compliment of her kids. Those 8th graders came down and they were wonderful this year. They were on it. And your FFA kids, we love them.
Yeah, they're good.
They get up on that wagon and, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And they bail, they get dusty and dirty all day.
They're in it, aren't they? It's awesome.
Great. They don't complain, and they have a good time, but they work hard too. So I just appreciate those kids coming down.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just give Shelby again another round of yes, thank you.
Awesome.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
I will try to keep this brief. I know it looks like I'm moving in up here. I don't need that. So 8th grade U.S. history at the very beginning of the year. It's a second chapter we get to, deals with the age of exploration. And 8th grade U.S. history is from the beginning of our country through the Civil War. So we kind of have to get to being a country before we can worry about any of the rest of it. And I just find that a lot of our kids really think that Christopher Columbus might be the only explorer that ever existed. And we try to teach that maybe there are a couple more. So what I started doing, this is a 4th year I've done this, is when we're in that chapter, we put groups together and we do, and it's called an Explorer Project, where each group gets their own explorer, and they just present it to the class. And it gets them a couple different things. Number one, it gets them a research, research skills, public speaking, because each member of the group has to speak. And 8th grade, we're kind of still in that shy, we'll talk with our friends, but we'll not say another word if anybody else is around. Also gets them into some essay writing. Now, I'm not an English teacher. However, I can pick out spelling and grammar and things like that. And I'm not looking for pages upon pages, but basically their presentation boiled down into like a 1-page essay type thing, where we're trying to get some writing across the curriculum. That's something that we've been pushing and that we want to make sure that we're getting a lot of. So some English in there, some math involved as well, because we're doing timelines and things like that with these explorers. So just trying to just build some different skills while we're still in the social studies setting. Last thing that they do is shows their creative side. Because they put together different artifacts from their explorers and they put them all in a treasure chest type thing. And really, the treasure chest can be a shoebox or an Amazon box that they kind of just decorate up, and that's what they present. And I brought a couple of examples. This is just kind of your bare basic shoebox that they've painted, and they put some artifacts in there, and that's kind of what we're looking for. And I thought that was a pretty good one. Welcome to pass those down. I do say, and this one I've kept for a couple of years because I kind of say this is the gold standard. This young lady that did this box for her group spent an enormous amount of time on it. And I thought, you're spending so much time on the box that the inside is going to be kind of less than. But I should have known. She created a map, very distressed looking map, burnt edges, ripped edges, just a terrific all around. And that's kind of what I show the kids when we start. Like, I don't expect yours to be this, but man, this is something to shoot for. And so, like I said, I've kept that one back for a couple of years just because, again, that one's pretty cool. I will say that my favorite one from this year was this one, and it's awesome. It really is. But it's the story behind this one that kind of makes it my favorite. The girl that did this one was out during the time for a few days that we started this project. We got into groups, kind of missed all that. And so her mom was emailing me, and I was like, listen, I've got some alternative stuff she can work on until she gets back. We'll kind of give her a different path for this one. So we don't need to worry about doing any of this. We'll just kind of worry about the other part. And then when she shows up back to school, she comes in carrying this with just all sorts of maps and flags and all sorts of things with it. And I emailed the mom and I said, I'm sorry, you must have misunderstood, or I wasn't clear enough that she didn't have to do this. Like that wasn't part of it. And the mom emailed me back. She said, there's nothing to apologize for. I got to spend time with my daughter working on this. And she said, it's just time that we don't ever get. And I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but I was telling some of the admin earlier, the name on that one would surprise you. But when I told her how much I appreciated that box and how awesome of a job she did, you could just see on her face, she doesn't get compliments very much. It was just a very apparent. But it really showed her creative side that I didn't know existed. And hopefully we've kind of built a little bit of a bond and some trust and things like that through that project. So again, public speaking research, essay writing, creativity. I do random partners, so no one gets left out. And also, it's a way for me to say, you know what? You're going to go to the job force one day. You may not like everybody that you work with, but you have to find a way to get along. And this is a way, you may not hang out with everyone in your group, but for a week, you're going to have to figure it out. And they do a really good job at that. So just, again, English, math, life skills, we're trying to do it all, really to just show them that there was more than Columbus that sailed and found some places. So it's something I really do enjoy, and it's at the beginning of the year, so I don't really have it to look forward to. We kind of knock that out first thing, and then we move on. But it's something that our kids have really taken to, and they do just an excellent job. And I could have brought 15 more boxes that look very similar to that because they all really put a lot of work into it, and I was very proud of them. So that's what we do downstairs.
When you work with them, they just step up. Kids step up.
Absolutely.
And you never know. And that kid will remember that. I'll tell you right now. You get, in my years, I've had kids come back 30 years later and go, I remember the time we did blah, 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 and they said, I don't even remember that. But oh, I do. I remember it a lot. And, so they'll not forget that. So good job, Kyle.
Thank you, everybody. The next item is superintendent report.
And I don't have a ton here, but I don't sound like a broken record. But Mr. Hassan, welcome. Thank you. Looking forward to working closely with you over the next few years. One thing I want to point out to everybody in here, if you look up at the ceiling, you see a couple new things, little white squares. We've spent a lot of time talking about Centegix, the program that alerts quickly administrators if there's an issue, or heaven forbid if dispatch is ever needed. Um, they are already installing the system. We will train teachers and staff. When I say staff, I mean everybody. Doesn't matter, coaches, custodians, cooks, teachers, instructional assistants, administrators, you name it. Miss Stilger back there is going to have a badge too. Everybody. We've given several presentations, but the reason I wanted to point that out, and they will be in the gym, the hallways. I've been in a conference I'll talk about here in a minute. I came back into my office after that today. Sitting in my office, there's one. There's one as soon as you walk in the door there. Everywhere. The beauty of that, about a week or two ago, we had a little mishap, and we accidentally hit 911 from a phone. The current system then sends everybody into lockdown through the phone every time it's hit. What we were doing is testing, make sure it went to dispatch, make sure you didn't have to hit 8. You could just still dial 911, doing some of those things. This system will replace that system, but what we know and what we saw again, when you had a cafeteria full of kids or you're in the gym, couldn't hear it. Had no clue. This will remedy that for us. I mean, you can see it just as I'm looking here. I can see 1, 2, I can see 5 of them just in my immediate sight line. I think there are probably some back there. They're in the hallways. They're absolutely everywhere. If that ever happens again, you won't be in a situation where you don't see it. They're outside as well. And so we will all be notified. And so that the work on an installation on that is being done now. Right now, the community foundation is picking up the installation costs in the first year. We were looking at potentially using school safety grant to pay for it moving forward. That may not be an option. The county council was wonderful and picked up our school resource officers this year. Truly a blessing that nobody ever anticipated or expected, and it was wonderful. That may go away moving forward. So the school safety grant will have to go back to the resource officer, but we will find a way to make sure that we pay for this. And so then again, kind of looking in operations budget, we're trying to pad it there to make sure that some of the safety things that we're doing stay. But I just wanted to make sure I pointed those out. They are not in here when kids are in here during the school day. They're doing all the work at night, trying to keep them, away from kids. We always try to do that with contractors when they come in, if possible, just as little crossover as possible. But I just wanted to point that out to everybody that is going on. The board and myself spent 2 days in Indianapolis at a conference. It's School Boards Association and Superintendents Association have a joint conference each fall. It's a wonderful time. You learn a lot more than anything else, like most other conferences, being able to talk to other superintendents, other school board members, the things that they go through, the things that they see. That's probably where most of the learning goes. What I always pick up when I have those conferences or study councils or whatever else, and I hear what's going on in other corporations, it reminds me how lucky I am to be here, because our craziness here is not even in the top 10 in most places craziness. So I'll take that every day. But it was a good time, and it allows us to spend a little bit of time together, just getting to know each other as people, which then makes the hard work that we do together and that they do easier. And then I mentioned to some of you guys, I'll be talking with county council members tomorrow, and then at the general meeting tomorrow night, myself and Dr. Mark Eastridge and Tim LaGrange, who's the new superintendent at North Harrison, just to try to work with the county council. They've been very generous in the past, do great things for our kids in our community, just trying to make sure that partnership stays strong and some of those things continue. That is my report, sir.
I went to a president's meeting this morning, and I haven't had a chance to tell you, but the number one concern or number one thing being talked about was funding there. So it's on everybody's radar.
Go on and on and on about it. I mean, there's legitimate reasons, there's perceptions that aren't really clear out there about all the funding. That's a book in itself. So
Is there public comments at that meeting? Or
I don't think there's an advertised public comment. It's a budget session, and
Okay.
they're calling in people to comment. If they think if a community member had a question, ask.
okay. Thank you.
They'd just be told no if they weren't. Yeah. But it is a public meeting.
All right, thank you. Next item is PTSO report.
Right. So, like April said, we provided lunch for the teachers for the parent-teacher conferences this year from 1816 again. This Friday, the 19th, we are going to be having our parent perk up. So any parents that want to come and just hang out, get to know us, and just kind of talk about what the PTSO is all about, you're more than welcome to. It'll be at Kent Java after drop-off. And then currently, we have a group of members that are organizing the junior high dance that will be at the beginning of November. And then we're going to start working on the holiday shop as well. And then other than just, we still have a vice president spot available. If anybody wants to join, you're more than welcome to.
Lauren, do they still do the, like, call it Santa Super Saturday? They still do something like that? Saturday?
Yeah.
Do they still do that?
Yeah,
That was like pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. I just remember that because I made pancakes back there for about 10 years in a row. Back there. Oh, yeah.
I'm still learning all the
No,
things
that's okay.
that we're
No,
part of. So.
You're good.
Yeah.
George brought me home a piece of candy. He bought it last year.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. For the gifts, yes.
Okay, Chip said he's going to pass, so there's no public comments relating to agenda items. The next item is approval of transfer from education fund to operations fund in the amount of $200,000. That's what we do quarterly.
Correct.
Could I have a motion and second to approve?
To make the motion to approve the transfer from the education fund to operations fund. $200,000.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, number 10, the next item is approve Brooke Clayton as Prosser bus driver. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve Brooke Clayton to be the Prosser bus driver.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approve number 11, approve Randall Hussong as a substitute teacher. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve Randall Hussong as a substitute teacher.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I'll abstain from the vote.
If any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approve Karen Johnson as cafeteria substitute pending background check. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion. We accept Karen Johnson as cafeteria substitute.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approve Steve Price as special education preschool mid-bus driver. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve Steve Price as special education preschool mid-bus driver.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 14, approve the resignation of Sandy Denny as food service director effective at the end of school year 2025-2026, or sorry, end of school 2025-2026 school year.
I'll make the motion. I just don't want it to happen.
We won't
because
second it. Then we can't vote
well,
on it.
she's gonna do this. But Sandy Denny loves kids, and she loves to cook. And I've eaten a lot of her food, and it caught up with me, so I had to stop. But anyway, she loves her job, and I know that she's gonna do other things. She'll continue to work, but not in that capacity. But I just wanted to thank Sandy for the years of service that she has given this cafeteria and this school corporation. She is a wonderful person, and you're lucky to have her here with your kids every day. And she loves your kids. And I just wanted to echo that. So thank you, Sandy Denny, for all you do for these kids at Lanesville Community Schools.
And like Mr. Bridges said, Sandy would like to stay on, and we'll work through all that as a cook. Just the paperwork, the administrative roles, she's ready to step back from.
I'll second it, by the way.
Okay.
Made the motion,
Any more
yeah.
discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 15, approve high ability enrichment contracts over fall break for Brooke Kramer, Leslie Holdridge, and Bethany Miller. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion. We approve the contracts.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 16, approve a school nurse assistant.
I do have a name with that at this point. We did not at the time of publishment. She had not accepted. Ms. Marianne Blevins.
Marianne, what was your last name?
Blevins.
Blevins. Okay, approves school nurse assistant Marianne Blevins. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the school nurse assistant.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Discussion, number 17, discussion of substitute teacher incentive pay based on days worked.
Yeah, and on 17 and 18, not looking for a vote tonight, but just have a discussion with the board. We are looking at potentially the substitutes that we have, and of course, substitute pay will be worked out when we do contracts. But we're looking at potentially an incentive for people when they sub 10 days, potentially a $100 bonus, just to give some incentive for substitutes to continually come to us and to work at Lanesville. We think that it's very beneficial to try to get the best people in here we can, but as often as we can as well. And we know that it's not a ton of pay that a substitute gets, but they are invaluable for our students and our staff. But we would like to, those that are here routinely, day in, day out, or at least once or twice a week, do some type of incentive pay. And what we're thinking is, every 10 days, potentially $100 that would be tacked on to that 10th day. But just a way to say thank you for coming in and working with our kids, and to hope to incentivize them moving forward. And again, not looking for a vote today. Depending on discussion here with you guys, that'll probably be on the October board meeting if we want to go down that road. But it's just something different. And so I would like some input from the board, or answer some questions from you guys as we're thinking about this. It's a daily rate.
Do we coordinate that in-house still?
We do. Yep. We do not go outside.
We had in the past.
But that
You know,
wouldn't have
the day
to
we used to,
be
yeah.
10 days straight in a row.
No.
Just be when they are here for 10 days, accumulate 10 days of substitute.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to incentivize and to say thank you, because it is a difficult job.
Oh, yeah, it is.
It's a very difficult job, but if we can get good people here and fill our classrooms, it makes it easier for everybody involved, the classroom teacher, the kids, the substitute, everybody involved.
Clarify. Not 10 consecutive days?
No,
If I work one day a month for 10 months, you're going to give me an extra $100.
during that school year, yeah. It very rarely, because we usually need 1 or 2 subs a day, but some days we don't need any. And so it's very difficult to do 10 days in a row. Usually on that's a long-term sub. We kind of work something out with them anyway if they're able to. But truly, getting anybody in here is so difficult. And we've got some people that only like to do high school. Some only like to do elementary. And so 10 consecutive days, I don't know that we'd ever have anybody hit 10 consecutive days unless they're doing a maternity leave or something along those lines. But truly, if you're here 10 days, and we only have 180 days, and then if we have some snow days and some other things, but 10 days is probably a good window.
You know how many subs we actually have?
I don't know that number. It's low. We talked about it 2 Tuesdays ago. I mean, I don't know that we're double digits at this
Really?
point.
Good.
What's the daily rate?
What's the daily rate?
80 or 85 at this point. 80.
Okay, that'll give us some
Get that out.
some ideas to think about. Okay, the next item is discussion on bus driver benefits for full-time bus drivers.
Yeah, this is something that we never really had before. But as things start shifting and we start moving, we've got it now. With Brooke Clayton running our Prosser route, he runs a morning route for us and a Prosser route. He qualifies as a full-time employee. We've got now a couple of special education routes that we haven't really had in the past until the past couple of years. One of those people work for us. They drive a morning route for us and one's a contract driver. But we're going to start seeing more and more and more of these. One thing we're not currently doing is we're not paying into PERF for retirement. Really any benefits for them. We've got one corporation driver who works full-time in the building who now qualifies for insurance and that kind of stuff. But those drivers who are now corporation drivers that are either running, we may have to add another special education driver, who are running those in between their morning routes or running that in Prosser, they qualify for PERF at the minimum. And I can get a printout sheet for you, but that's what we're really talking about, that. And they're truly, we've had it worked out before where they were last year, a corporation driver and somebody that worked in the building, but they met it because of that combination. Now we're hitting the point where with Mr. Clayton, truly our first full-time bus driver. And so, instructional assistants get retirement. I think that they deserve that as well.
It's hard to find.
And that Prosser route, if you run a morning route in that Prosser route, it truly is a full-time. You get one little window in the middle of the day, but you can't do anything because you got to then run back up to Prosser, get those kids.
Prosser route's a full-time job.
It's a full-time job on itself, but it didn't qualify by hours.
Yep.
But
Right,
now
right.
when you throw the morning route, the pay and the hours qualify for some PERF, especially the time part. But want to look at retirement for them just to help incentivize that.
They're a W-2 employee. They're not 1099 contract.
No,
Or a W-2. But, so the school corporation, you can determine who qualifies for PERF?
no, there's a formula, and Miss Simler would have to give you those exact numbers. But so she runs it with Boyce, our system, and with their people, and they'll tell you if they are or if they're not.
So approving this would automatically get them PERF, but right now, if they work a certain combination of hours or pay, they qualify and we give it to them anyway?
Yes,
We can't refuse it if they qualify, right? I'm just
yeah, and where we've been so far is the combination came in the building as an instructional assistant and corporation driver, so they were already getting the PERF. And so when the one then was doing that, now she switched to a different job that's full-time anyway, but still driving that route, it didn't really affect us. This is the first time that we've got somebody who will probably qualify for PERF just as a driver.
Is their pay based on hours or a daily rate as well?
It's a daily rate as well. Yeah, and so we will, the way that we've done it the last several years, after we get teacher negotiations settled, then we move on to our classified employees, which will include bus drivers and that kind of stuff. But then everything and administrators, and then everything starts in January. And so we're having this kind of discussion now. I can get some more numbers for you guys. We can continue discussion. We kind of need to know, though, because it takes a number of days for it to take effect. Probably October would be the time, and I can have those numbers for you if you need them, generated from Miss Simler. But this would be the first time that just a truly driver would qualify for that, and it's probably going to happen more and more.
The combination that they meet qualifies them for PERF, but we're not having to worry about that.
At this point in time, no, not yet.
No, there's not that many hours.
Yep. They're still under 29 and a half. Now that could change depending on if a route gets lengthened or whatever. And we pay by the day for our corporation routes. And so that helps there also.
Finding drivers is a issue.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
Everywhere, not just here.
It's a nightmare.
But they had to cut. I forgot who we talked to. New Albany Floyd. It was Joe Belker.
Yeah.
They had to cut 60 routes. New drivers. That's big right there. And they had combined routes. So these guys are running four routes at a time.
I don't know the corporation. We're talking small and rural school breakfast this morning. A school board in the state is currently working on a resolution to cease transportation because they can't find drivers and they can't afford the buses, and they can't do all of it. And so,
and some have gone,
incentives help.
Well, some have gone to mid buses, because they can't afford bus drivers and no contract drivers anymore.
And we've looked at one point in time for our Prosser bus a couple of years ago, and we couldn't fill it. Talked with Miller Transportation to see if they could even run it for us and we could rent. They didn't have drivers for it at the time either. So it's difficult, but I wanted to put that on your radar. Discussions, any information you guys need, and then revisit that in October probably, so we can get some things set up. But I just wanted some discussion tonight.
Thank you. Item number 19, conflict of interest for Audrey Brown.
Yeah, and she'll get that, and you guys sign it. That is because Kyle Brown is her husband. She's an administrator at the high school. He's a teacher. Needs to be filled out, and so then I will upload that in Gateway.
Okay, could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 20, conflict of interest for Donnie Husson.
Yeah, and Mr. Hussall may want to speak as well. Just there are a number of personnel, either daughter-in-laws, nieces, whatever it might be, that we have to do those things over. But his is a little different as well. Mr. Husson works at the bank, First Harrison. We do business with First Harrison. And so we just want to make sure that it's on file, that we recognize that we have a board member who works at an entity that we do business with. And so we need to get that. So his is a little bit different, and he'll do one for everybody. But I just wanted to make sure that we all knew that it wasn't just a personnel thing on this one. It was also the financial institution that he works at on his full-time job. We do business with them, and so we'll need to do that as well.
I'll make the motion for Donnie Husson. Conflict of interest for Donnie Husson.
Yeah, I guess a second. Okay.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 21, approve the resignation of Brooklyn Booby as girls softball coach. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve the resignation.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Approve the following coaches for the 2025-2026 season. Gavin Huron as JV boys basketball coach. Sean Crothers as varsity boys basketball volunteer coach. Chris Gayhart as varsity boys basketball volunteer coach. Griffin Reynolds as varsity boys basketball volunteer coach pending background check. Mason Miller as varsity boys basketball volunteer coach. Connor Nolot as boys volunteer basketball. Oh, sorry, as volunteer boys basketball. Let me start over. Connor Nolot as varsity boys basketball volunteer coach, pending background check. Matthew Beckman as fifth grade boys basketball coach. Ava Hildenhoe
Yeah.
as varsity girls C team basketball coach. Caleb Dotson as eighth grade girls basketball coach. Robert Smith as sixth grade girls basketball coach. Eric Hess as fifth grade girls basketball coach. Adam Belden as athletic supervisor. Could I have a motion and second to approve all of those?
Go ahead.
Could I ask a question or make a recommendation?
Hmm?
Only because I want explanation of what the job is. Can we leave Adams out? Talk, what's an athletic supervisor?
What he does, we've had it for years and years.
Okay.
It's what Jerry Guesswine did for
Okay.
ever.
It's Jerry
And
Guesswine.
so
Equipment
just,
manager.
yeah, there are times that to help work
And supervise
events.
ball games and stuff like that.
Yep, and Adam's been doing it the last few years and has done a fantastic job. Ever since
All right.
Mr. Guesswine resigned from it, he picked it up and he does an excellent job. They help supervise athletic events, and so sometimes you need either an additional person if it's a boys' basketball game or something along those lines. Every once in a while, we're pulled in different ways, meetings, whatever. And so, like tonight, there's a school board meeting, and if you had both gyms going, then Mr. Payne would be primarily in one, and you would have that person primarily in the other. Because springtime, in particular, you might have a softball going on down there and a baseball going on down here, and so to help split those duties up, that helps.
Wait, Chip, go ahead.
He does the equipment manager. He washes all the uniforms, does those things. He had both of them. Yeah. They split it. It's always been two separate pays. Mr. Guesswine just had them both. They're not that way now. They haven't been for the last several years, but they were always listed as two separate pays. He just had both duties.
Does that make you comfortable, Donnie?
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand.
Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 23, approve the.
Who made the motion?
We didn't make a
No one made a
motion.
motion.
Oh, sorry.
Let me make a motion. I'll make
Okay.
the motion that we accept all these people.
Okay. Who
Approve the
seconded?
following coaches for 2025-26 season.
I'll
Okay.
second it.
There you go. Now,
Okay.
Now discussion.
Could
now discussion.
Now discussion.
I have a conflict of interest form though as well.
There you go.
Any more discussion?
Okay. Any more
Go ahead.
discussion? So yeah.
I was asked jokingly by someone, what in the world does he need all these volunteer assistants for? And I said, if you've met Coach, you don't want to do anything to dampen this guy's enthusiasm. And if he wants these and it works out, and I don't think you're going to see all 27 of them or however many he has
Yeah.
sitting on the bench, but I met him at Heritage, and he is a very impressive young man, and I'm familiar with his parents, and I think we're going to see great things just based on his enthusiasm and desire.
And the young coaches really want to be around him, and they really want to do this work, and it's exciting. We'll see what happens with that, but that's why you have so many. They're not all going to be on the bench because there's no room for them all.
There's one for each kid as a basketball team.
Yeah.
There's a volunteer.
There's no room.
They're tutors.
Yeah, they're tutors. Yeah.
Okay. I've got a motion and a second.
Okay.
Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Number 23, approve the following fundraiser, soccer to sell popcorn. Could I have a motion and second to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve popcorn fundraiser.
I'll second it.
Okay, any more or any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. The item number 24 is additional public comments. I think Doug was the only one signed up for that.
all right. You can talk to us. We're okay.
I get colder as I get older, I think. But first of all, I want to congratulate Donnie to the board. As you know, I was contingent in that position, but I'm happy for you, and I know you'll do a great job. Also want to thank the board for putting their pictures on the website. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and you all look good in your pictures, so that's nice to have, I think, for the public to recognize who the board is other than just a name, because a lot of people don't know the name with the face. So I think that's an excellent additive there. There is one thing, however, that's missing, I think, on the website that needs to truly be on there, because I don't think we're fair to our parents and in the community when we have passed all the board docs, all the board policies, and they're not on the website. And it's been months now since the policies have been approved, and I would encourage the board to get those posted, because I think you leave yourself in a very vulnerable situation when the public or the parents don't know when a decision is made and why it's been made. It's because of board policy, and that protects the board. So I'd strongly encourage the board to get those on the website as soon as possible. But I think enough time's gone by now that they should be on there. Which brings me to board powers. And I just want to read just an excerpt from policy 0122. The school corporation shall be a body, corporate, and such capable of suing and being sued, contracting and being contracted with, acquiring, holding, possessing, disposing of real and personal property, and taking and holding in trust for the use of the benefit of the corporation, any grant or device of land or any donation or bequeath of money or other personal property. And I'll stop there on that board policy, because I've been here to several board meetings, and it seems like we have a list of items that personal property is being disposed of because it's broken, it's trash, we need to get rid of it. But my question is, and I don't know that you have to put that on the agenda because you hold the powers to dispose of that property. It's good information for the public to have. But I am inquiring about what happened to the old bleachers that did we throw them away? Did we think about selling them? Did we get trade-in value? I'm just curious, because that's a large expenditure of $400,000. And I feel like the bleachers should have had some value of maybe being auctioned off, or another startup school an auction house might have bought them. I don't know. What happened to the bleachers?
I think they cut them.
Yeah. They're not able to be used again. The frames of them, as they take them out, they need to cut them out, a lot of them. The frames were about done anyway. And so if you were here, whenever, and Mr. Brown can attest to this, getting them in and out was very difficult most of the time.
I'm not questioning why we got new bleachers. I just want to know what happened to the old bleachers.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. I'm telling you, they
cut
weren't
them out.
able to be sold. They took them with them. They were disposed of by the company.
Okay, well, that's never been on the agenda item, and I thought that would probably be on the agenda item, is that we trashed the bleachers. We got rid of them. We put on there chairs and copy machines and what I would call very insignificant pieces of property, and I just never heard what happened.
I think we explained that when they were
bleachers
being put in. Mm-hmm. We explained that when they were being put in that was going to be them with them. That they were going to take them with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Board policy 0131.1. The board shall adopt bylaws and policies for organization and operation of this board and corporation. The bylaws and policies may be adopted, amended, and repealed at any meeting of the board, provided that the proposed adoption, amendment, or repeal shall have been proposed at a previous board meeting, and once proposed shall have remained on the agenda of each succeeding board meeting until approved or rejected, except the board may, upon vote where compelling reasons exist, cause to suspend at any time of operation by the bylaw or policy herein contained, provided the suspension does not conflict with law, and such suspension shall terminate at the next meeting of the board or such earlier time as specified in the motion to suspend. I just want to read that excerpt of the bylaws and policies and then apply that to board policy 0144.1 compensation. The school board members shall receive each year specific compensation of $12.50, as well as per diem in the amount stipulated by the board resolution accepted upon annual organization meeting, and so on and so forth. My point there being is last meeting, the board approved a pay increase to $4,000, which is 320% pay increase from the $12.50. I'm just questioning why that wouldn't have to be on the agenda, and then because it's amendment to the policy, why it wouldn't have a first reading and a second reading. That's the way I would interpret that. A 320% pay increase is pretty substantial in my book. I know the board, I've sat on boards with zero compensation before, and given them my time as a civic duty, and I understand the compensation is not much anyway for the hours and time that you all put into it. I get that. I understand that totally. But when we have teachers here and other staff members, 320% is pretty exuberant. My suggestion would be, I don't know when 1250 came in, but to me, it'd be more appropriate to say, okay, if it was 10 years ago that 1250 was established, I don't know when. I'm just using that as a thing.
Was the last increase.
When?
2008.
2008. So if we went 2008.
17 years, right.
17 years.
Okay.
If we went 2008, what was the pay increase for the teachers and staff in 2009? It was at 2.5%, 3%. I would apply that to that 1250 rate to keep the board at that level. So no one got a bigger increase than somebody else. It might tabulate out to be reach that $4,000, and I'm okay with that. I really am. I'm okay with the $4,000 because I know it's a tough job, but at least justifies to the public and to the faculty and teachers of why that exuberant amount. Not that legislation has passed and we can now get 10% of the lowest paid teacher and we're just going to pass a $4,000 pay increase. To me, as a public and a taxpayer on the other end, I'm thinking, whoa, I never got 320% pay increase, and so on and so forth. So that would be my question there, I guess. It's pretty hard to take that jump percentage-wise. So anyway, and my comment about does it need to be a first reading and a second reading since an amendment to a policy. That's the way I interpret the board policy to read. I could be wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more additional comments? If not, oh, Chip.
Took care of athletic facilities for 22 years. Bleachers, scoreboards, ball fields, and all that. I can tell you what's wrong with the bleachers y'all took out. They wasn't cleaned underneath like they were supposed to. There's lint built up on the wheels. When lint's built up on the wheels, then the motors go there. That's what's causing them behind up. So they need to be cleaned in certain towns throughout the year. There's popcorn seats. You think they're full, still, everything else is done. So if these are not maintained properly, you're going to be spending money on them. So they have 20-year license bills. You got 30. They give you 20-year or 30-year.
30 out of it. But I'm not disagreeing with maintaining. We'll do that. But I'm just saying we got pretty good length out of those, and they were maintained periodically because Brother Fred did that underneath there too. I know he did.
All right, any other additional comments? If not, all those in favor of adjournment? Oh, I guess, can I have a motion? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Okay, got a second? Okay, any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.